What if I told you there was a time when knowledge itself was forbidden? Not hidden, not lost, but explicitly forbidden by God. Because some things were never meant for humanity to know. And yet, we learned them anyway. Before the flood, before the giants. There was another story rarely spoken about. A story of watchers. Beings who were not human, yet walked among humans. They were called angels, but not the kind people imagine. These were not messengers of peace. They were observers, watchers, and according to ancient texts they were assigned to watch humanity. But never interfere. That rule did not last, because something happened. They looked at humanity, and they became fascinated. Humanity was fragile, but ambitious, weak, but creative. And that curiosity became dangerous, because one of them spoke. His name was Azazel, and he taught humans things they were never meant to learn. Weapons, metals, war, beauty, manipulation, knowledge that did not belong in human hands. First, it seemed like progress. Civilization advanced. Tools improved. Society expanded. But something else began to grow with it. Violence, pride, corruption. The more humanity learned, the more it changed, until the world itself became unstable. And then, something else arrived. The giants. But they were not the beginning. They were the result. Because when forbidden knowledge enters the world, it does not stay alone. It multiplies. And the watchers realized too late that what they taught could not be taken back. Not even by them. And the world was already changing beyond repair. And when the knowledge spread, it didn't stay controlled. It evolved. What began as tools became weapons. What began as skill became power. And power always demands more. Humans began to reshape the world around them. Metal was pulled from the earth and turned into blades. Armor, instruments of destruction. War was no longer survival. It became dominance. And Azazel watched it happen. The one who gave the knowledge could not stop what it became. But he wasn't alone. Other watchers followed, each bringing something new. Secrets of the heavens, the movement of stars, enchantments, hidden forces, things that bent reality itself. And humanity absorbed it all, faster than it should have, deeper than it was meant to, until the line between natural and unnatural disappeared. And that's when the next change began. The watchers didn't just teach. They crossed the boundary. They took human form. And they stayed. What started as curiosity became desire. And desire became action. They chose to become part of the world they were meant to observe. And from that, something new was born. The Nephilim, not fully human, not fully divine, but something in between. And unlike anything that had existed before, they grew fast, stronger than humans, larger, more aggressive, and completely unchecked. They did not follow human limits. They did not respect human life. And as they spread across the earth, so did destruction. The knowledge that was given, combined with the power they possessed, created something unstoppable. Cities fell. Order collapsed. Violence became normal. And for the first time, humanity was no longer in control of its own world. The Watchers had broken the system, not just by teaching, but by changing the structure of creation itself. And then comes a moment that changes everything. A moment rarely focused on, but it reveals how far things had fallen. The text says, all flesh had become corrupted. Not just humans. Everything. Animals. Life itself. Altered. Twisted. Changed from what it was meant to be. Think about that. This wasn't just sin. This was transformation. The entire world becoming something else. And when that happens, there is no fixing it. Only one option remains. Erase it. And when everything had changed, when the world was no longer what it was created to be, judgment came. Not slowly, not quietly, but with certainty. Because this wasn't just disobedience anymore. This was corruption of creation itself. And at the center of it was Azazel, the one who gave humanity what it was never meant to have. Ancient texts describe what happened next in a way that feels almost hidden, like something not meant to be fully understood. Azazel was not simply punished. He was removed, bound, cast into darkness, buried in a place where he could no longer influence the world. Not killed, not destroyed, just contained. Think about that. A being powerful enough to change humanity could not be erased, only imprisoned. And he wasn't the only one. The Watchers who followed him were also judged. Some bound, some cast down, some left to witness the destruction they helped create. Because what came next was the flood, not just to destroy humanity, but to reset everything that had been altered, to wash away the knowledge, the giants, the corruption, the damage done to creation itself. The waters rose again, just like before. But this time, it wasn't just punishment, it was containment, because the problem wasn't just what humans had become, it was what they had learned. And knowledge doesn't disappear easily, so the world was wiped clean, or at least, that was the intention, because after the flood, something doesn't make sense. The knowledge didn't fully vanish. Civilizations rose again, faster than expected, too fast. Metal, weapons, structures, understanding, as if something remained. And then, the giants appeared again. Not immediately, but eventually. Oji, Goliath, others. Echoes of something that should have ended. Which leads to a question most people never ask. If Azazel was bound, if the Watchers were punished, if the world was reset, then how did their influence continue? Because knowledge doesn't need a teacher forever. Once it exists, it spreads, it survives, it hides, and waits. Maybe fragments of what was taught were never erased. Maybe something was passed down. Or maybe something was never fully gone. Because the texts never clearly explain it. They leave gaps, silence, unanswered questions. And sometimes, silence is more dangerous than answers. Because it leaves one final possibility. What if the forbidden knowledge was never meant to be destroyed, only hidden, until the time came for it to be used again? And if that's true, then the story didn't end with the flood. Continued, quietly, through generations, through kingdoms, through wars, until it became part of the world again. And if it happened once, and then again, then it might not be history. It might be a cycle, and cycles don't stop on their own. They repeat.